What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting Art of War live stream. We are here, jet-lagged and happy because Nick and I have returned from the World Team Championships of Warhammer 40k.
That's right. Always one of my favorite events of the year. Absolute amazing experience getting to see all of your friends from different countries that you've met over the years that share such a unique niche level of passion for Warhammer. And it's also like what a concentration of talent. You just don't get games like that every weekend.
Absolutely. I love WTC. It's one of my favorite experiences of the year. This year was no exception. And, well, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, this is probably the densest concentration of top-level Warhammer that we get in a year. And we've seen the lists that come out of this event shape the meta for months afterwards.
I think we might see that again. And also, you know, we did pretty well. We got third. That's not bad. Go USA.
Not bad, not bad. We were able to get third place right on the podium, but of course, we have to give a little bit of credit there to the winners of WTC, Team France, back-to-back.
And dominating. 7-0 is something I don't think I've seen happen at the WTC in a long, long time.
There has never been a 7-0.
Yeah, so
there's been a 6-0. There's never been 7-0.
Clean victory from France, and I must say, we got the Art of War podcast coming out where I interview Olivier on Friday. And he's the captain of France. He does an amazing job running the ship and just piloting everything. It was an honor and pleasure to talk to him, so I'm really excited for that episode.
Yeah, I think your brain's still on Austrian time there.
Dude, I can't even speak words. I don't know how I'm awake right now. It's just a weird day. It's a weird week.
And it will be. So if you're excited about this and if you actually want to see some of the prep that we did, one, make sure you check out the Art of War podcast that Nick released, I think last Friday, where you interviewed members of Team USA.
Even you.
Even me. As well, we actually did some practice games. For example, if you want to see my Emperor's Children in action, my WTC list, there's actually a game going live today against some Eldar from the WTC.
That's right.
So,
I played as Liam VSL's list, and if you hadn't followed, Liam piloted his Eldar list to the highest scoring Eldar army of the tournament when innovating the 30 Swooping Hawk version. So really exciting game for that one.
Yeah, so we have a lot of WTC content in the Worm and on this YouTube channel. So, of course, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and check out the link in the description below, theworm.vhx.tv, if you want a free 3-day trial.
Okay, let's talk about some WTC time now.
All right, let's talk about it. Should we talk about War Masters too, or just WTC?
Let's talk about the War
Masters? I
Masters.
I think our War Master's in the chat right now. So, it's funny. I actually I don't do this very often, but I watched a little bit of a stat check yesterday, just because I was curious. And I think that all the members of Team France are just going around to every single YouTube live stream just so they can hear it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think it's happening.
I would do it. No shame on that.
I believe that De Polignac Alban is in fact our reigning War Master. If I'm mispronouncing your username, I'm so sorry because I know that I am. And this is what you get when you listen to Americans.
So he basically went undefeated through some Mortal Kombat versus some of the best players in the world and came out undefeated with Death Guard, virulent Death Guard with 0 Plague Scrawlers, totally different to this typical meta Death Guard list we're seeing. Then he went on to play the team tournament where he went 7-0, or at least his team went 7-0, and super impressive run. And I think what's more impressive actually is that France has done this specific maneuver of winning War Masters and then the teams 2 years in a row. Like, that is just domination.
Yeah, no, it's very impressive. It's certainly setting the gold standard right now.
Yeah, no
for
kidding.
For anyone else to aspire to, which, well, we're gonna do our best, but
try.
Yeah. Other than France, though, there hasn't been a repeat on the podium in the last 2 years. It's been a different podium around them. So there's a lot of teams nipping at the heels right now, but just not quite there.
Dude, it's hard. It's hard. They're raising the bar in terms of what high-level competitive 40K teams can be, and the rest of us are going to have to just catch up.
Yeah. Next year,
Maybe
specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Next year.
We're not salty at all. We're coming for you, Olivier.
It's all right. They've earned a little bit of salt.
No, I mean they have dominated. It's true.
All right. So what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the standings? You want to talk about some of the top performers?
Also, real quick, Inez, who got second place on the final tiebreaker of the War Masters tournament. This doesn't get enough credit because second place just never gets enough credit. But honestly, he was right there at first place too. They tied on turn 5, like a 70 whatever to 70 something 10-10.
I believe it was 71-70, which is in his favored, but still a 10-10.
Yes, and then I don't remember how they determined the victor from that point.
Oh, they said that you have to play at turn 6, and I believe that Innes looked at the board state and the 5 turns of Warhammer he had planned out with his Gene Circle army and shook hands at that point.
Yeah, no, not my favorite tiebreaker for sure, but I'm sure that was written down somewhere.
Yeah, I do think that I do believe that the champion Albon had tiebreakers going into it. So if they had just called it a 10-10 and not broken the tie, I believe that the outcome still would have been the same, or the final placings would have been the same.
Okay, well, I mean, c'est la vie. That's what happened. And I just wanted to give Inez a shout out for doing a really awesome job in that tournament. Captain of Scotland, or not Captain of Scotland, but really, important community member of Scotland.
Absolutely. All right. So if you have any specific things that you want us to check in while we're doing our review, of course, make sure you drop us a super chat. We are always happy to look at those, and we'll make sure we get all of them by the end of the video.
Yeah, you want to bust open some BCP and
yeah, let's do
walk
it.
And talk with them?
So what we've got up here is the standings. And I think we can look at this kind of compared to the predictions that you and I made 2 weeks ago.
If you remember
3 weeks ago?
John, last week was last year to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything.
So what I had made as the predictions, as I recall, and of course slightly different, was that I left Team USA out of it because I didn't want to predict our own finish. And I think that I called Germany, France, Sweden as the top three. And so we can see that all three of those hit the top four, with Poland in fifth, which is very much in line, I think, with what we were expecting going in. I believe we also mentioned that there's going to be at least one team jumping up into the mix that we hadn't predicted, and that would be Belgium.
Yeah.
But Germany, very impressive run. We had the pleasure of playing them in round 5, but Germany came second.
They did,
which is, I believe, their best finish in quite a few years. I've seen them in third a couple years ago, but they've very much, I think, been living in that like third to sixth or seventh range for all, where they've been up there, but not quite at the top end of the podium.
Right.
And I would bet that they're ecstatic with a good finish.
Yeah, as they should be. And I think, I had an amazing game with Grisha from Germany. We had a fantastic round. Pretty much all my games were awesome. I had not even no issues. I had nothing but very pleasant opponents at all levels. Like, it was just a great sportsmanship event.
And that's normally the case at WTC. Not only does this highlight top end generalship, but also top end sportsmanship for Warhammer, which is probably the reason why we keep coming back, right?
Yeah, seriously.
If I wasn't having a good time, I would find a cheaper tournament. But I agree. I had 7 fantastic games across the weekend.
So Germany got second, Sweden got fourth, Poland got fifth. I think that's a little surprising from Poland's perspective. I always look at Poland as they hit the podium type of country. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen them in fifth in a long time.
Yes. Typhus was almost gleefully telling me, he's like, oh yeah, actually fifth is the worst that we've had in the last 12 years. And I'm just like, cool, we did that last year, and we've done worse than that half the time. Yeah. But all right, good job. But yeah, Poland usually a beacon of consistency. I think this was their first year with a new captain. As a matter of fact, I think Germany, USA, and Poland were all first year captains this year.
Oh wow.
So clearly still able to get up and compete.
Right.
But I will not be surprised to see Poland right there. But we played Poland around 7 and ended up in a draw with them.
Well, I think something to consider is also the margins. Poland, Sweden, USA, and Germany all have the same final record in terms of points earned. The way the tournament works is it's like wins are certain points, draws are less points, and losing is 0 points. Then it goes to battle points as a tiebreaker. And then, for second through fifth being determined on battle points is like how hard did you beat up your opponents across 7 times 8, 56 games of Warhammer, which is kind of arbitrary, to be honest. A little subjective there. Yeah,
it's a very which round did you play which team? Did your team go second or first on supply drop a lot?
Right.
There was there's one team went went first in all 8 games of supply drop.
Yeah.
I need to check who it was, but there's one of the tier 1 nations I think just went 0 for 8 on I have to go first on supply drop. Mm-hmm. And I think they still won, but it really shrinks the score.
Yeah. And I think there's an element of that's accepted in Warhammer, and of course that's the format of this tournament. But when you have 4 countries vying for second through fifth with the same points total, and they're just going on punching bag tiebreakers essentially, and how close you kept those losses, it ends up being just placings that are arbitrary.
Yeah, I unfortunately would agree, and there is a very much just that log jam.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that we had the tiebreakers to get second of the 4
we get the credit for it. We got 2 full rings, but
of course.
That's not to take anything away from Sweden or Poland. Poland was, inches away from second place the same way we are inches away from fifth.
Yep. That's absolutely the way it goes. We've got a lot of people in the chat right now. It's so good to see everyone. I can't read all of them, but I do think we can one, apparently it was Czechia who went second all 8 times of supply drop. So second all 8 times on supply drop is fantastic. I want that. That means their opponent went first all 8 rounds of supply drop, and that is not what you want.
That's true. I'm glad supply drop is one of those missions they get rid of in the pod.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to play supply drop or Terraform or Percifo when I'm playing against Poland or France.
Yeah,
Sweden,
yeah.
You know?
I kind of miss Purge the Foe.
No. My trash-centric Elder Army does not.
I like it better than supply drop. I'm not even going to lie.
Nice. Let's talk about performances like with lists and stuff. Anything caught you off guard or surprised you from our team or other teams that you saw?
I mean, I'd have to go into the player placings real quick. I've been focusing a lot more on the kind of the team finishes than the individual ones here. There's
this Chaos Demons from Malta.
Chaos Demons. Yep.
Do you know what this list is?
This is I honestly don't.
This list.
I can pull it up.
You can pull it up. I'll let you pull it up, and then I won't spoil the surprise.
Don't worry. I've made sure that it'll fit nicely here. All right. Ooh. Okay. So this is
Shadow Legion.
Shadow Legion. All right. There's a Dark Commune. So you know.
Oh, there's a Dark Commune. You see how there's 0 demon characters?
Respect.
I didn't even know you could do that while playing demons.
Yeah. All right. This is Nurglings, Horrors, Plague Bears. Okay. Flesh Hounds. All right. This makes sense so far. Kind of. 2 big ACDCs, 3 big ACDCs. Cultist, Commune.
Yeah,
Okay.
This list is 50 pink horrors, 3 accursed cultist bricks, 10 plague bears, 20 cultists. And this list is the second highest scoring army of the tournament. That is amazing.
Why didn't you try that?
I don't know. Well, because I don't hate
cores.
myself, you know?
No, get those pink cores.
I'm going to have to. Now, I think there is something to be said about the fact that Malta, I think, did not perform super great. So they were not necessarily playing against the likes of France and USA and Germany and those teams that are the top tier. Mm-hmm. But everyone at WTC is pretty good in the grand scheme of things. And all said and done, this is the second highest scoring army there is with like pink horrors and stuff.
Look, I love the pink horror spam. Like I love that. I wish that you would do that more. That's it. I just wish you would do it more.
Myself enough.
You know what? You don't love yourself enough, and you don't love Tzeentch enough. That's what I'm thinking.
There's too many non-Tzeentch units in there. Like there's Nurglings. There's no Fate Weaver in the army. It's not Tzeentch.
Okay. What if you just played Chaos Cult and you just allied in pink horrors instead?
I have actually tried that. It did not get me the second highest points of the practice game.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Well,
Red Room's in here, who's been a member for 31 months. Congrats to a great third place finish. I got to ask versus France. You put our boy Nick in a very bad match, in my opinion. Was it sacrifice for wrestling because you had better armies for that matchup? Same for John versus Austria. Well, in terms of my game versus Astra Militarum, I thought I could maybe get a 10 there, or close to a draw, which having now spoken to the France captain, they are actually in agreement with that thought. But however, me attacking on their board choice was not my factor. It was not factored into my head there, and the board choice really messed me up. And frankly, my opponent had played against Eldar more times than I had played against Recon Guard, and that inexperience gap definitely exaggerated the loss a little bit. And then there's also more to the story. You know, I was told to push at some point, which probably was going to dig a deeper hole, unfortunately.
Yeah. Great if it works, bad if it doesn't.
Right.
You know?
And we were in a bit of a rough situation, so we're taking the big risks at that point as a team, which makes it a little bit uglier than it needed to be. Mm-hmm. But John, what happened in your game versus Austrian the Knights?
Oh, I just died.
You just died.
I just died.
Oh.
That one, I did not think that I was going to win that game.
No.
But getting me in there got our Space Wolves into Eldar, which did I get a 0 against Knights? Yes. But did our Space Wolves get a 20? Yes. Which is kind of the same as breaking even.
That's right. And we knew we had our World Eaters into
a CSM.
CSM army, which we thought
not the 20-0
for us.
Yeah, so we it set up enough good things that I was happy to take the grenade. Now, I'll admit, I went into the game hoping for more than a 0, as one always does. But you know, when the cards and the dice fall that way, and when the Knights are looking into your deployment zone on top of one, you really just got to make saves and force saves, and if you don't, that's it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and one more thing on my France match. Now I don't mind talking about this.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I had a little bit of a homelessness problem versus France. They had some real anti-Eldar hate on their team, Mr. 80 Berserkers and Bile and Olivier. I like to hunt knights, and they didn't bring knights.
Yep.
That sucked.
Yeah, and so we did need to find you somewhere to go.
And they knew that. They were like real aware of that weakness in our team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is fair. If we get the 10, it's awesome.
I was hoping to get the 10.
But it's the ifs and buts. There's the story of WTC. Yeah.
At the end of the day, we won exactly one game in that round. So
yeah, and
it's tough.
I still think I'd rather put you there if we did a rematch than into those 80 Berserkers.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling. And a couple of people have mentioned as we go through the pairings, Canada's performance. I think want to shout out some of the teams that I'd say had a really big rises over the past years.
Yeah.
I think there were 4 teams that had really significant improvements on the last year. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, there was actually a little bit of a confusion at the event with who was most improved. The single most improved team at the event was Latvia.
Yeah.
I think Latvia went up like 19 places.
Yeah.
Like an insane amount. I think it was in 19 places. I think when we were looking through the pods, I think we shouted out Latvia as a country to watch because they'd had a very impressive run right before the weekend. And sure enough, I think Latvia, let's just check. Latvia up to 17. They were, I believe, a tier 4 country.
If they were up 19 places, they were 36 out of like 40.
Yep. And I think they've went from,
bottom 10% to top
half.
Yeah, that's a huge jump. That's
Huge
actually
jump.
An insane jump. I don't think I've ever seen any team do that jump before.
Yeah. And we'll see exactly how the tiers break out next year once we know how many countries are attending, but it's very likely that that's going to elevate Latvia a tier.
Yeah.
As well, I think the next was Portugal. Portugal, this one I remember because of the number symmetry, went from 31st to 13th, which is plus 18 spots.
Yeah.
Did that happen because they had the only Ultramarine Stormraven at the event? Probably.
Yeah.
That list is goated.
That list is great.
That list is the best.
Yeah. Who wrote that?
You can see it in the worm.
I want to give a shout out to Portugal too, which I did last time, but then I met a lot of the Portuguese team while I was actually at the event this time, and they are so fun. What a fun group of people. Like, oh my God, I had such a great time with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I traded shirts with one of them. We didn't even play.
Yeah, absolutely. I got some Portuguese dice as well, just to put on my wall display. And then I think Canada and I believe Team Israel each went up like 12 places. But Canada, turns out they're on the rise.
Who called it? You heard that phone? It's still ringing over there. Someone pick it up because I've been calling it for a while.
Been calling it for a while.
Calling it for days.
You know what?
Canada, I see you. I keep tabs on my friends in the frozen north. And you know what? You guys have been working and learning and growing and kicking butt. Mm-hmm. Good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a very impressive run. Of course, our own Archon Skari was on the team doing great things with Drukhari.
Put the army on the Tantalus. Drive the Tantalus through Europe.
I don't think that's how we did it.
That's how he did it.
That's how he did it.
I was literally there.
On the Tantalus.
On the Tantalus.
Okay, well, you're about to get him red carded, so that's rough.
No. It's a figurative Tantalus.
The figurative. Okay. We do have a super chat in the chat. Thank you so much, Nathan Ward. Congrats on 3rd. The WC streams kept me entertained all weekend. Keep up the good work. Nathan, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it, had fun watching it. We had such a great time while we were there.
And big shout out to Joe and all the different WTC streamers. Like, I love that they stream it in all these different countries and different languages for their own countries. But from an American perspective, Joe, you rock. You had an awesome staff. Love seeing you work in the field. Love being a part of it. You got me up personally on stream in the last round. And I see you in the chat here. Joe, we love you. We'll support what you do.
Thank you so much, Joe. Really appreciate it. If you want to catch some of the actual games from WTC, I think there are 7 on War Games Live, as well as a bunch of games from War Masters. So there's some really high caliber Warhammer with some high caliber commentary from Adam Camilleri as well as Joe. Gotta give the Art of War shout out. So please make sure you check out Joe's channel if you want to see a little bit more WTC action. It's a great place to go.
That's right. War Games Live, folks. That is the place for live Warhammer content. Basically every weekend. This man somehow doesn't take a break.
I think he's taking a break this weekend.
I hope so. Joe, please.
Joe, please. Joe, please take a nap. We love you, buddy. Take a rest. You're doing great. It was very good to see you, Joe, though. And thank you so much for being here and chat with us. And then another one is that I want to shout out is Team Scotland.
Team Scotland, also on the rise.
Yeah, I don't think they rose 18 places or anything quite as impressive, but we believe that if we have the same size WTC next year as we did this year, that Scotland will have improved themselves into being a tier 1 nation, which we haven't seen like a turnover like that in a while. Yeah. And so very impressive to see. Of course, great weekend for Scotland. We saw Innis doing well at War Masters, Scotland putting in the work. I think we got a little bit of flack for how we described Scotland versus the Netherlands. And I believe that the Netherlands did win the pod, but I also believe that Scotland scored more points in the draw that they had against each other. And now Scotland has finished ahead.
Yeah.
Which, without getting the head-to-head win, I still think that they're very happy with that.
They should be.
Because
really come far as a team.
Not only did Scotland potentially elevate themselves to a tier 1, they also finished ahead of England.
Dude, that might have been the chant. That's what I heard. Just saying.
Look, I have no opinion on that, but I do believe that Scotland has an opinion on that.
They sure do. They sure do. They did finish better than England.
Yep.
Speaking of which, England is in a rebuild year. You want to just cop that over? England is in a rebuild year here, and then, their results kind of imply that 2 losses and a draw. Is that 2 draws or 1 draw? I can't tell.
It's a one draw, yeah. Okay. They started 4-0. They did have an impressive start.
But then I think they fell off at the high levels of competition, the highest levels. Because once you go 4-0, you're slamming into the top teams.
Yeah, I think after that, they didn't play France. Who did they play?
They only played Poland.
Why am I?
Click the button,
yeah, all right. Like, let's just find out together, right? So they got Spain, then Poland. That was it.
Yeah,
so
and then Germany put them down right.
Poland into Germany. That's rough.
Yeah, it's almost as bad as our France into Germany, which we got through.
We were technically alive after that, but not by a lot.
But
really.
we were. We did get through it.
We did get through it with a loss. Yeah. We have a couple more super chats jumping in.
Yeah, so we got I'm too random GH with the 5 Canadian super chat. Do we think Templars will have a place for teams, or will that be a waste of the Space Marine slot?
I actually do think that we are going to have a place for Templars in teams. I'll admit I am still processing a lot of the new codexes. I actually have not read the Grey Knights or Votan codexes, even though we have reviews for those books currently up on our channel. Actually, I'm going to play my first game into Votan today, and I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to do that over the lunch break. But I do think that from what I've seen of Black Templars, specifically the Melee of Sword Brethren and the Repulsor Executioner datasheet is going to give them a lot of ability to play the Space Marine detachments. I'm less in touch with the Templar detachments. I haven't really processed those yet. But what I've seen is that I think that you can make a good Gladius, Stormlands, or Iron Storm. I actually think Repulsor Executioners and Iron Storm are going to be very deadly for Black Templars. And there's also there's a character in there. It's either the Castellan or the Marshal who gives crit 5s, which is like cool when you find something to give them lethal hits. Or if you're in Iron Storm and you just say, oh, here's a strat for sustained hits.
Yeah.
That's kind of messed up. Sure, you don't have Oath, but you have other ways to reroll all hits with your lethal sustained crit 5 Sword Brethren.
Seems good.
That'll probably do, right? I don't think you need a 10 man of that. I think a 5 man's still going to kill everything it touches. So yes, I think Black Templars are going to be viable. Next super chat is from Michael Allen.
Michael Allen with a $5 super chat. Very impressive that John did work with a bottom tier army. Also loving watching Nick and Scary on streams. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael Allen, for the support. I did my best. I was very happy with Emperor's Children. I maintain that they are better than their 44% win rate implies. However, if the GW Balance team is listening, they're actually worse than that. So, please give me those cheaper Flawless blades. Please. I want to paint them. Right now, they are kind of primed on my desk.
As they should be.
As they have been for several months, and I would like to paint them now.
Very random for you, the $2 super chat. Thoughts on China? 3 74-point losses. Mm-hmm. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. It is tough there. The difference between 74 and 75 is like a world
heartbreaking.
A world of ocean. It's very heartbreaking.
Yeah. Please. I think we still predicted that we thought that Team China was going to do relatively well. The comment that I got from England after they played them round 1 was that was not a tier 4 nation.
Yeah.
Where I know England prevailed there, but China certainly put a difficult game on them. And 374s to me means that China's right on the edge. They're right on the line, and it would not be a surprise to me to see them get over the hump soon.
And I think also something needs to be said about the experience gap between China and most of the other countries attending WTC. Like China is pretty brand new to this thing, so given like a couple years of like figuring out the ins and outs, this is an event like no other, and the preparation that goes into it. Once they start familiarizing yourselves with what is now normal, I think this country is going to rocket right up to like even tier 2 potentially.
Yeah, I would not at all be surprised. And getting that experience across multiple years. So that you start to bring back experienced players who really understand how WGC is going to work. Really, really is important.
Yeah.
We got a couple more super chats coming in here. Next up is Redrum. John, I gotta know, how much did you sing after WTC ended? My favorite game of the weekend was Nicolas from Germany versus Gagno of Team USA. Top-notch sportsmanship, unbelievable. You know what? I actually did not sing at all at WTC. No super chats at WTC. It's a real tragedy. But I heard actually that the Nicolas versus Andrew game from Team USA versus Germany, that was round 5, and I believe was on the War Games live stream. If anyone wants to go watch it, see that sportsmanship in action. I have no doubts that sportsmanship was on full display there. I've heard great things about Nicolas. We really enjoyed our round of Team Germany. I got to witness some of that sportsmanship firsthand. And of course, Andrew Gagno, was he the first good sport in Warhammer back in 2001?
We won best sportsmanship, the Adepticon teams with a really unsporting person on our teams.
Really, Andrew?
Besides Andrew.
Oh, okay.
Andrew carried the sportsmanship so hard that he fixed a bad sportsman.
Fair enough.
But no, Nicolas was talking to me about that game after he was buzzing despite, losing to us by one, or drawing to us by 1 point. No, losing to us.
Losing
to us by 1 point. In a game where he could have easily had like one more here or there. He was buzzing about how that was the greatest game like ever. It was top 5 game for him in his life. Like just an amazing experience.
Andrew will do that to you.
He would, wouldn't
Gagno's that kind of a guy.
Yeah.
Another super chat from Ricky Chow. Speaking of singing, I believe I was snubbed on a song by Siegler. Yeah, Siegler does not sing on stream, it turns out. He just rolls dice and then screams, "I am the Nightbringer."
Ricky, I'm really happy and appreciative that you were continuing to super chat even though Richard snubbed you, but I just want you to set your expectations where they belong. He is a robot. He's got these protocols. You can't break them if you wanted to. Absolutely. He can't not break them if you wanted to. He must follow.
Yeah, we need to get like a chip. We need to get like a hard drive with a bunch of like LimeWire and Napster early 2000s music on it. Plug it in. Yeah, he has a socket right behind his ear. You just gotta plug it in while he's on rest mode. And then he will wake up and sing. But so far, we have not been able to get past the laser gate while he's resting.
If we can just get rid of his charger and then get him to power down for a few hours, we can do basically whatever we want.
Yeah, that's the trick. But you know what? He's got stainless steel hands, man.
It's an exodermis.
Right. Yeah, of course. Zlack Onion with another super chat. Thank you, Zlack Onion. Any surprising admech at the tournament? As a matter of fact, yes.
Galanka
yes, there was.
Did very well.
I think Lukas Galanka from Team Poland. Let's see if I can spell this right.
There had to be a better way to do that.
Well, I don't think it's a fine. Mechanicus? We're gonna find out. All right. Oh, there's the line through the L. I'm sorry.
I think it was the Z instead of the S that got you.
There were several things. So Galanka on admech. Let's look through it. He was on, I think, Rad Zone cohort, but he had a very interesting plan where I think in every single round he ended up defending, choosing a very specific type of table. Mm-hmm. Specifically, I think on all the Search and Destroy and the Crucible battle maps, he was taking those maps that have the Thunderdome in the middle because the sides of those table are very wide open, so strategic reserve shooting can arrive and do very well there. And there's one very good staging point behind the Super L.
Yeah. That is the board that the French guard list happened to be on. That sucked.
That was the board that I got 20-0'd by the Knights on.
Yeah.
Where if he
really hate that board.
Once he deploys the line and goes first, the firing lanes just exist.
They're just there.
They're just there. I was like, wow, I'm really not hiding anymore. No. It's worse when they can see you over the walls.
There were Dorns at the end of the firing lane, and there was 100 guardsmen between me and the Dorns.
That's too many.
That's a lot of guardsmen.
That's a lot of guardsmen. So this list in particular, I think it was basically based around a double destroyer brick. So you have Call, 2 Manipulus, Techno-Archaeologist. You've got a smattering of Skatar Rangers, just good solid battle line. You've got a couple of Iron Strider units, just some las cannons poking around from the back. And the big squad of Breachers and this big squad of Destroyers is really the feature here. Beyond that, there is a lot of Taraxi. It's, 10, 5, 10, 5. That's 30 Taraxi. It's a lot of bats. A couple cheap, infiltrators, literally infiltrators, a Scorpius, but the main feature, I think, is the 2 big Cataphron units. 1 Breacher, 1 Destroyer. My read on what happened here is that one of these goes on the table, and that is the Cataphron Breachers. They're a little bit tougher, a little bit better in melee. And then if you've got one of these tables where you can defend, choose open side lanes, you can bring in a Cataphron Destroyer unit from reserve, which is a long-range unit. Get some really good shooting there.
Yeah.
And he's able to do that very successfully because he scored a lot of points. He finished 5-2 with 4 20-0s, which is very, very impressive. And it's a very off-meta admech. Now, it shouldn't be a surprise when you see an off-meta list at WTC. There's usually a reason for it. It's rare that you see the off-meta list and then it just craters entirely because there's a lot of practice and testing that goes into it before they're willing to take it.
I think also being an off-meta admech list is like being a snowflake of a snowflake. No one really knows what you're doing. And in a tournament where everybody more or less knows what everyone's army does and how to play with it, how to play against it.
For sure.
When you can get that actual information advantage because they're inexperienced or don't know what your army's doing, that is such a massive value gain. I think you saw that reflected in the scores here.
Mm-hmm.
Got a couple more super chats. Will, I really am with the £5 super chat. If you could see the list before you submit yours, what would you change, or do you think your losses were down to good balance but bad dice?
There's a lot of things that go into the losses at WTC. It's a combination of how we did our pairings, how we played the games. Right? It's more than just the lists. I actually was relatively satisfied with all 8 of the armies that we brought. I think there's a couple of things where we could have tweaked it. We could have done double knights. I honestly don't regret not taking knights.
I think that was one of the best decisions we made, is not taking knights.
Yeah, I really don't regret that. I don't know how, but I wish we had one more knight counter because good heavens, does it feel like somehow we still don't have.
I think losing at a list level, bringing one of the wrong factions or just not having a good counter for what the expected meta was, I think we didn't fall into those traps genuinely. Yeah. So you could change lists and maybe get marginal gains, but I don't think that is what's kept us off of first place or whatever.
No.
Largely, it's more or less everything else, I would say. Not to say our list couldn't be improved. I know my personal list, I would make one specific small change. I'm sure a lot of people might have that.
Sure, yeah.
But generally speaking, I don't think we lost in the list. I think there's millions of other factors.
I would agree. I would be more than happy if I didn't have to get on a plane to run another round into France tomorrow, or maybe ideally in a week, with the same list, and I would still feel like we have every chance to try and compete for victory.
Yeah. And then we got Red Room with a £5 super chat. It was intense watching Folger in the round versus Germany. Poor guy went to the emotions in the matter of minutes. I think he was grasping her. Dude, Folger needed some time after that. And that's what I think makes WTC such an amazing experience also. You get that emotionally invested into it. You're completely wrapped up into it, full flow mode, where everything you're giving is to this tournament, to the game on table, and to your team.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, especially when you're the last game to finish and you need a certain score to win. It's stressful, but
big shout out to Folger, honestly, for keeping it together in that kind of pressure. That's pressure most Warhammer players just don't know how to deal with or don't deal with.
Yeah. No, he handled it like a champ.
Yeah. But overall, I had a great experience with the event and all that, with the team. I mean, WTC is always one of my favorite events. I love the people. That's what always makes it for me. And the games were top-notch this year. I had no bad games, no bad interactions, just lovely people through and through, and some really great Warhammer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We seem to have hit the end of the super chats there.
Yeah, that's what I was
were there any other that you want to see?
No, I think I'm good on that.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you want to keep the conversation
I
going.
mean, I want to talk about WTC for the next 11 months.
Sure,
but beyond that though, I think then we're at a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for watching, everybody, and hanging out with us, super chatting. It's how we keep the lights on and keep John happy and fed.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. And if you can, subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps us with the algorithm. It really helps us continue producing this kind of content for you and always improving it for you. And then if you want even more content like that Emperor's Children game you couldn't watch at WTC, there's one right now in the War Room. You can sign up for free at thewarroom.vhx.tv with the link in the description. And then you get access to all the content for your 3-day free trial.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.